Welcoming back to the podcast, a fairly recent guest, but one of my more popular ones, and he's a fucking YouTube hit goldmine. The brilliant Hannibal. Hannibal, how you doing today?
The brilliant. Wow. I guess that's a UK term because I'm sure that's not describing my intelligence.
Yeah, well, I'm from Ireland, so you know.
What's the heat with England and Ireland? I was just talking to a girl from the UK, and she was going.
Well, basically, it goes back to ye old days where Irish people were used as slaves, and we're grudge holding fuckers, and it's time for war. And you're on our side, yes?
I'm neutral.
Well, that's not what I heard. But I gotta, since I last spoke to you, of course I follow you on Twitter and Instagram, or not Instagram, on YouTube. I don't follow anyone on Instagram.
At the Hannibal TV, by the way, for anyone listening.
There you go, you bastards. But I'm sure everybody is following. You revealed or announced that you've been going through a skin cancer treatment. So how are you doing? How are you feeling?
It wasn't really a treatment. I just had to get it removed. I had a small piece of skin cancer on me, and unfortunately, because of this lockdown where I live, they actually shut down the cancer doctors. So I actually had to travel somewhere to get it removed. But now that it's removed, I'm just not going to be doing any more sun tanning or walking around without my shirt off in the sun, and I should be okay.
Well, thankfully, sun tanning is something over here that we experience as often as meeting someone from Mars.
Yeah, so I've heard. That's why everyone drinks there.
Well, speaking of people who drink, I've got to ask you about the latest story within the wrestling world. Sonny, he or she is back in jail again.
Yes.
It's kind of sad to know that that's happening to her because she's clearly got a problem. But at the same time, she doesn't seem like exactly the lady you want to bring home to meet your grandmother for fucking Christmas dinner. So the topic I'd love to ask you about, because last time we spoke about infamous stories and rumors. Have you heard any good Sonny behind the scenes stories, such as the one with Mr. Friendly Ahmed Johnson?
Well, I actually did a whole compilation video on my YouTube channel of wrestlers telling their Sonny stories. But yeah, she's been with a lot of wrestlers, obviously. I used her once in Great North Wrestling for 2 shows. That was during her time where I guess she was sober. She basically just complained a lot. She was already pretty heavy by then. But yeah, no, I haven't had any personal experience because by the time I met her, she was long past her prime. By the time I met her, it was already 2008. But rumor has it, there's been tons of rumors of all the guys she's been with. There's one wrestler that there is a clip on my channel of this guy. His name is Alex Silva. He was the Gut Check. He was in TNA Gut Check. He actually goes into great detail on his sexual encounter with Sonny on my channel, and he didn't catch anything from her, and he banged her without a condom.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Johnny Devine, another friend of mine, not that Alex Silva is a friend, but Johnny Devine, who was also an Impact, he's another one of the lesser known guys that have been with Sonny as well.
But would you bang her just so that you could say that I banged Sonny?
No. She's horrendous. She's gross. No, there's no way I would. Not even if I was wasted, I don't think I would.
What I take it you have heard that Ahmed Johnson story. What did you think about it?
I have not. I actually have not. But coincidentally, I saw a picture of Ahmed Johnson yesterday, Someone just randomly shared it. Have you seen how big he is now?
That is the Nutty Professor.
Yeah, he's got to be, 400 pounds maybe?
Yeah, he's more ham than Hamhead now. He's
Yeah,
Hamhead Johnson.
I remember him when he went from WWE to WCW. Didn't seem like much time had passed, but he gained like 100 pounds in that time. I think he was called Big T in WCW, but now he's just huge. It's actually impressive. He doesn't look anything like his old self. But yeah, please tell me the Ahmed Johnson story.
Well, allegedly, of course, the story is that back in the sort of the later '97 days, allegedly Ahmed Johnson knew people who could get chocolates.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that Sonny allegedly likes that sort of stuff. Maybe some candy here, chocolate, definitely into the ice cream. Rumor was that they were one night, I don't know who she was with, was so strung out and desperate, and they knew that Ahmed had the desserts, that she was then basically loaned to him for the night, and allegedly he really went to town on her, and it kind of shook her up for weeks.
I'm going to have to ask him about that, because after I saw his picture last night, I think I'm going to go on a mission to track him down and interview him. And I will ask him. I am interviewing Raven tomorrow. I know Raven allegedly had something to do with Sonny. I will ask him about that. An interesting story about Brutus Beefcake. When we used Sonny in Great North Wrestling here, Brutus Beefcake was also on that tour. And he had told me personally then that he had had sex with her. But then I brought up that story in one of my news updates. And then here's something funny. Brutus Beefcake tweets at me that he did not have sex with Sonny, but he did have sex with Missy Hyatt. And he tags Missy Hyatt in the tweet, as well as his current wife, who's also named Missy. So off the record, he could have been lying. Brutus is not known to be the most honest guy in the world. He could have been trying to impress me that he had a fling with Sonny in the past, but in 2020, he's now publicly denying it. Quebecer Pierre, who's PCO in Ring of Honor, also told me, I mean, this is, Animal will not admit this, I'm positive of it, but according to Quebecer Pierre, Animal at one point was also banging Sonny, according to him.
Well, he was around there in the dying days of her looks, because after early '98, it seemed like there was a lot of hangover food going on and a lot less gym time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember she literally was eating a Wendy's Baconator when I was driving her on the road, and she was talking to me about the pizza she had eaten the night before, an entire pizza. So I think around the time she joined WCW was the beginning of her weight gain. And it's not just the weight gain that turns me off. It's just the amount of guys she's been with. It's a bit of a turn off.
But speaking of people who are not so much in the shape they were in the 90s, but are still going in 2020, Chris Jericho, of course, is the top guy in AEW. And as at the time of recording this is July 14th. Last week, a Chris Jericho match couldn't outdraw a pre-taped Adam Cole match, which is terrifying to think when you look back at some Chris Jericho promos on the WWE YouTube have I think his debut angle or debut segment has something like 52 million views, unless I didn't see the decimal point, that is. There's been a theory going around, because of course I'm linked to the glorious Keeping It 100 podcast. Thank you very much. Don't get too excited there. There's a theory by some of the listeners that AEW have ruined Chris Jericho or at least have booked him completely shit. So the question I would have for you is, sorry, I've got the COVID. The question I would have for you is, do you think that AEW has ruined Chris Jericho, and can you see that being a long-lasting a business agreement?
Well, I'm pretty sure Jericho probably has a lot of creative control in AEW as far as his own angles. So I don't know if he's he would probably be booking his own angles in my guess, because he's got a lot of pull there. But as far as ruining his legacy, how many people are actually watching AEW and know about what he's doing to his legacy? Maybe to the small number of people that are watching, but I don't think the average person on the street even knows what AEW is, at least here in Canada.
Well, I just want to say that the small people are watching this. This is not my regular hair. This is lockdown hair. I haven't had it cut since early March, so give me a break. But in regards to the Jericho thing with AEW, from what I've heard, he's getting paid way up there, like just below seven figures, or sorry, just below 8 figures. Like he'd have been fucking insane to say no to that deal, but it seems like he's kind of snapping a bit online, where he's like, "Oh, but we won the demo," and
yes,
yeah,
I fully agree with you there.
Yeah, and there's more people watching NXT, but a guy with spiky hair watched our show, and that's what makes it okay. To me, that's like, what are you fucking doing? You're coming across like it's a school competition. Like, oh, you beat my fucking pinball score, you cunt.
I agree with you on that. I found it funny that he's like, yeah, you won the viewership, but we won the demos, and that's what counts. Where he probably shouldn't even acknowledge it, because the fact is they're both not getting great viewers. They're both getting in the their biggest shows of the year, according to Meltzer. He said that this Fyter Fest versus Great American Bash was the biggest Wednesday Night Wars of the year, and they both got in the 0.2s. So yeah, who got the slightly higher rating and the slightly higher viewership? I don't know. I don't think there's any real bragging rights there when you're in the 0.2s. Didn't they start in the 0.6s?
I have no fucking idea about any of that stuff. All I know is that I've yet to watch anything AEW. I've started going back into 1995 TV. I just don't like modern anything. I still buy CDs. I'm considering vinyls. I was looking to buy an N64. I don't like modern stuff. It's all shite.
Well, I was talking to Kevin Sullivan yesterday, actually, and I guess he heard me say recently, because I think that pretty much the TV companies are all crap, and I think it actually would be good for the wrestling business if they went out of business, because the product is so bad that maybe something good would come out of the ashes. And he told me he agreed with me on that, because I think the current products are turning more people off of wrestling than are making new fans. That's what we're seeing anyways, with the declining ratings and interest in wrestling. So maybe it would be better if they just go away altogether. It's not going to happen, but I can hope.
Just before I get to the next question, I'd like to remind anyone, this is my lockdown hair. This is not my real hair. Speaking of bad haircuts, Jon Moxley at the minute is the AEW World Champion. He's not drawing at all. He's not bringing in ratings. Even before then, he wasn't selling out venues. And there's some critics that go, "Oh, that's AEW booking him badly. They're fucking shit." But then in WWE, he was pushed as a top guy, and he wasn't drawing well then either. So my question is, do you think that Jon Moxley is just one of these guys who, no matter what you do and where you do it, simply is not a draw?
He's not the type I would ever be a fan of. I mean, I was in Puerto Rico at the same time he was in Puerto Rico, and he was not popular in Puerto Rico. I can tell you guys that right now. He was just lucky that he got a push in WWE, but he looks, no offense to you, but there's no difference looking at you to John Moxley. He just looks like your average person. Nothing spectacular about him.
I'm going to have to delete that clip because if Disco Inferno hears it, I'm fucked.
But yeah, if I saw you guys walking down together, I wouldn't be able to guess which one is the world champion because you guys would look similar. He doesn't look like he works out. I don't get the gimmick. But whatever, there's that hardcore group of AEW fans that are going to like whatever they shove down our throats. And one dumb thing I have to also bring up about AEW is Taz, the manager, has now introduced a title that apparently is now going to be defended. It's like, so any random person can now just introduce a title to the company that can just be defended now as if it's an official title.
We need to get Cody Rhodes to bring in the SJW title.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, somebody sent me a picture of the title with the snowflake on it yesterday, and I posted it on my YouTube stories. And yeah, I got some heat from that, but it's true. They put out a mission statement recently that just, it was this isn't the exact quote, but it's something along the lines that they're all about promoting dignity and respect to humankind. Like, that's what AEW is all about. It's not about aggression. It's not about conflict, confrontation. They want to bring dignity and respect to humankind, which just shows you, like, people don't watch wrestling for political correctness and like bringing dignity and respect to humankind. They don't watch it for that. They want entertainment, and that's not what we're getting. At least to me, I can't remember the last thing I watched from AEW. Possibly the Mike Tyson thing, which of course Jericho killed by putting out the picture of him and Tyson with their arms around each other.
But I love how Cody Rhodes has this social justice warrior attitude, and then next week he's going to, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy, he's going to fight a gay black guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going up against Sonny Kiss.
Okay.
And the thing is, if he loses, then is he just doing that because Sonny Kiss is a gay black man? But if he wins, then Nazi-looking Cody just beat up a gay black guy on his social justice TV show. Then he's a hypocrite.
I found it funny that in my shoot interview with Kamala, he alleged that Dusty would often throw around the N-word. And of course, we know that, according to many reports, Dick Murdoch was in the actual KKK, and Dusty Rhodes was longtime tag team partners with Murdoch. So maybe Cody's just trying to make up for his father's past. I don't know. But I don't even know who Sonny Kiss is, to be honest. But it seems like they're constantly trying to shove that stuff down our throats with AEW. Everyone seems to think that the AEW supporters anyways, that Kenny Omega still has the potential to be a big mainstream star. I don't know about that.
Well, one mainstream star that is potentially coming into AEW, or the rumor going around, is CM Punk. Now, he was on that show, WWE Backstage, and I think there's more people in this interview than actually watched WWE Backstage. He didn't do shit for that show, even though it was only talking. Nobody gave a fuck. He's not, in my opinion, he's not very good at the UFC either. That's just my controversial stance on CM Punk. But the latest rumor going around the dirt sheets or the message boards is that CM Punk is now coming into AEW, or that he's the next target for them. So, what do you think that CM Punk coming into the WWE, fuck's sake, the AEW will actually change a thing?
Not really, no. I mean, Backstage was canceled after 6 months? It didn't even last a year. He kind of killed himself with those UFC defeats. A lot of people believed he was actually tough. The first guy he lost to was legitimate. The second guy, they wanted CM Punk to win. I did an interview with Forrest Griffin, UFC Hall of Famer, before that second CM Punk fight. And that guy that he lost to the second time was also 0-1. He hasn't fought since. He actually works in the media. He's not a legitimate fighter. And I heard Dana White say after that second fight, he would never book either of those guys again. So I think he said he wouldn't even put it on Fight Pass. That was the quote. And if anyone doesn't know what Fight Pass is, that is their streaming service that shows like indie MMA. And Dana White said that second Punk fight would not even make Fight Pass any credibility that he had. He's lost, I think. I mean, he got beat up by Ted Hart and those 2 UFC fights. I've never heard of him actually winning a fight. He does nothing but whine and complain. Some people might tune in to the first show that he's on with AEW just to see what's up. But I think that will lose its luster pretty quick. I don't know what they would offer him. I don't think WWE would be dumb enough to make him an offer now after he's kind of proven his worth with the failure of the Backstage show.
Well, according to my best friend of all time, Conan, and I just want to get that word out there, that he and I are best friends because he's a great guy and he's always friendly. But according to Conan, I don't know if you heard the clip going around from the glorious Keep 100 YouTube channel that I run, whatever. I'm not trying to name drop. But Conan said that AEW tried to sign CM Punk, but he was asking for too much money. Now, the thing that I find crazy about that, if Jericho's allegedly getting $8 million a year and John Moxley's allegedly getting $6 million a year, what the fuck did CM Punk ask for?
Is John Moxley getting $6 million a year? I cannot imagine that. That's crazy if he is.
Allegedly, and he's not spending a lot on haircuts anyway. Oh, I went there.
Because we know that Randy Orton's getting $4 million a year supposedly in WWE. So, and Randy Orton was supposedly offered a better deal in WWE than what AEW could offer him. And in my opinion, Orton's worth far more than Moxley. So yeah, I don't know if I believe Moxley's getting $6 million a year.
But I think it's the problem is that with the Tony Khan, it's basically he's got a real life version of what's that thing? General Manager mode on one of the SmackDown games. Only it's really happening, and he's got this crazy budget, so he can do opening match of the show, triple threat, Hell in a Cell, Iron Man, fucking blood match. And I just think that he's just doing whatever he can to make deals and sign people over. And again, it's not working out for him. Like, allegedly, Brody Lee is getting $1 million a year.
And has not affected the ratings at all.
He hasn't even affected the fucking locker room. Allegedly, of course. I don't want to get a kicking.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said, I don't watch it. I did watch some of the vignettes they did with Brody Lee, and I didn't find them entertaining. I didn't find them entertaining enough to watch the matches he had. But for CM Punk, I don't know. They do need star power. They don't really have any star power. If they didn't have Jericho, I think they'd be literally dying even worse in the ratings, because I think most of the people that tune in is for Jericho. But yeah, CM Punk would give them a little bit more star power, but I don't think he's actually going to get them out of the 0.2s on like an ongoing basis. But he is somebody that your average person knows, because Cody Rhodes was never a big star before AEW. It's not like he was a world champion in WWE. They only really have Jericho. Who else do they have other than Jericho that's like that was a top guy in another company? I don't know.
I guess
if you count Japan, but most Americans don't watch Japanese wrestling. I don't know about Irish people.
I guess we could say that Chris Jericho's new name is why 0.2 ratings, Jay.
Yes. At least for now, until it gets into the 0.1s.
Well, we'll have to see about that one. But another AEW scandal lately was the shit about Sami Guevara or whatever his name is, Guevara.
Oh God, yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, a clip came out of him back when he was 20 or 21 or something. He told this dumb joke about Sasha Banks. Said that when he seen her, he wanted to grape her. I think was the word, right? Grapes.
Yeah.
Which
is an American term for wanting to have sex with somebody's slang.
Which is sad, but yeah. So he said that, and it was fucking stupid. And I do think they were right to. Maybe not publicly call him out, but he was right to talk out about it, and Sasha Banks was right to talk out about it. But
he accepted his apology.
Yeah, and AEW suspended him at a time when actual sexual assaults were being reported. And the sad thing is with Sami Guevara is that he got called out in social justice time. So even though it was just a dumb joke, he's apologized. She accepted it. He's now going to be linked, I think, forever with actual criminals and sleazebags and perverts. And the perfect example is Enzo Amore. He was proven innocent of his accusations, yet today he's still fucking tarnished. So what was your opinion on the reaction that AEW had to Sami Guevara, considering they'd already hired Mike Tyson?
Yeah, well, that was the one thing that Mike Tyson is actually, I looked it up. He's considered a tier 2 sex offender for actually being convicted of raping someone. Now, I've loved Mike Tyson as a boxer, but I just think that there is a conflict there. Someone definitely, he was saying that in a dumb way, using a slang term, but I don't even think Sami Guevara could rape Sasha Banks if he tried. She would beat the hell out of him. He's like 5 foot, 130 pounds. But that was like a 2016 interview on a podcast I don't think anyone's ever heard of. Some troll looked it up, and like I found that it's almost like giving the trolls power that they punished him, despite, as you said, he came out, he apologized for it. She accepted the apology. And yet, even though AEW didn't exist at the time, they ended up suspending him over that comment. So I don't know. It's my main issue with that is how can Tony Khan be taking pictures with Mike Tyson and promoting Mike Tyson, a real rapist who is a registered sex offender, but the guy that makes a stupid comment before he's even with the company on a podcast nobody's ever even heard of, that some troll just found because he's a miserable person in his own life and wanted to drag Sami Guevara down. I don't know. There's a little conflict there. I'm no Sami Guevara fan, but I kind of sympathize with him for the reasons you stated. There's some guys like Joey Ryan that have legitimately done some really bad stuff. According to I think when Joey Ryan has 17 or 18 accusers, there's probably some legitimacy to it, and now he's been lumped in with all that.
Yeah, I just think though, and Conan has said it, and well, not Conan, sorry, Disco Inferno. He said, and I can play the quote for you. He goes, if I was Sami Guevara, I would quit and sue. I'd get my money. That was a clip from Keeping It 100. Anyone listening to the audio version, but I just think that this was a ridiculous overreaction, and it's this sort of social justice stuff that I think is going to add to the ever-growing AEW backlash.
Well, actually, I said the same thing as Disco Inferno, maybe not in the Kermit the Frog voice, but what happened was if there was a wrestlers union that everyone always talks about, that suspension wouldn't have gone through. He could actually, without even quitting, he could sue them over the lost wages because that's a wrongful suspension. He's been working for AEW. But then if that happened, he would be fired from AEW most likely, or they wouldn't renew his contract. And we all know no other company is going to touch him. So he's kind of got his hands tied there. And the one funny thing that I forgot to mention earlier was Cody Rhodes actually tweeted out that Sami Guevara is going to be back and he's going to be a better person and better wrestler because of this. And it's like, Sami Guevara is a heel. But to me, by Cody Rhodes just saying that, he's going to be a better person and better wrestler, Cody Rhodes just comes off as like such a geek. I don't know. Because how is that going to make him a better wrestler? I don't know.
But also kind of double standards, because then you hear the rumors about that Kylie Ray thing and Chris Jericho and about the reason why she quit AEW like 8 hours after signing her contract, and you just think there's a lot of double standards going on, and I fucking hate that shit. Hopefully Jericho didn't do anything, because I'm this is no joke. I met him once in a street here in Belfast, and we spoke for like 2 minutes about Aerosmith, and I nearly came because I'm such a mark for anybody from the 90s, and I thought. And that always makes me think that's a good, nice guy. Maybe he thought I was John Moxley. I don't know. But I just think that the AEW, when you promote stuff like that, like, oh, we're the fucking the good guys, it's like, are you though? Because look at Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I honestly don't follow politics, so I don't even know what's going on with Hillary Clinton. Sorry. Maybe you could fill me in.
I don't actually know why I said that, from being completely honest. I just said their name randomly.
I think Bill Clinton's involved with that whole scandal regarding that pedophile island thing. So I don't know if Hillary was tied to that too or not. Well,
if rumors are true, get ready to never enjoy Tom Hanks films ever again. But let's not.
I'll just say one more thing about AEW here. I don't know why they're doing this, but everyone knows superstar Billy Graham gave me the name Hannibal the Death Dealer back in 2014. And why AEW is insisting on, is this supposed to be a rib on me that they keep having this Dr. Luther guy that I could beat up in about 5 seconds, continuously say he's the original Death Dealer? Like, what the hell is up with that? You guys weren't probably familiar with my wrestling career, but every time he says this, I have all these fans telling me, it's like, what the hell is up with this? Why are they having Luther say he's the original Death Dealer? Billy Graham gave me that name. I was known as Hannibal the Death Dealer. What the hell is up? What's going on? I don't know. He's on my list of people I would like to fight.
Well, hopefully,
I don't know if Jericho's put him up to it or not. I know they're buddy. That shows you Jericho's pull, that they got that guy hired because he's best friends with Chris.
I think it's completely ridiculous. But another person that I'd like to ask you about is Paige. Now, she's one of these people that I don't understand why she's still under contract.
Because she broke her neck in the WWE ring.
Possibly, but then I heard she got a little bit of hate on that because it was her fault. Like, she called the spot that broke her neck again. But This is the thing that I don't get about her. If you look at her, like, if you look at her stuff she posts online and the way she talks to people online, then if she gets any form of backlash, criticism, she freaks out and goes for the whole, "You're fucking sexist pigs, and you're all treating me like shit. Now here's a photograph of me in a thong bent over. You can see my arse. But don't judge me sexually because that's fucking disgusting. How dare you?" This seems to be happening a lot with women in the wrestling industry, where they will start an OnlyFans page. Like, I'll be totally honest. If I could make money for looking for how I looked, I would do it. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, how could they show off their cunts? We don't need to see that shit, because we do want to see it, and some of us have, especially Sonny recently. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God, don't remind me.
But with the page,
I was searching up, honestly, and I hate to say this, when I was searching up that news on Sunday yesterday, some of those pictures popped up.
It's well, that's a shame to hear that, but send me the link. But so, what's your take on the rise in women in wrestling, where they will, for their social media, like if you look at Lana especially, holy fuck, the body on her and the photos she posts online, and with Paige doing the same, and a lot of the women do it. But then, if they're in any way booked in an angle or a match that somehow is to do with their sexuality, their looks, they freak the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been following any of the divas on social media, but I had some personal experience with one woman that wrestled for our company that was like wrestling in scantily clad outfits. And then she had an issue with some of the comments on the YouTube that you know how difficult it is to filter every single YouTube comment you get when there's 2,000 a day. It's like, if you don't want comments about your butt or whatever, don't wear clothes that are showing off half your ass. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I think there should be a mix, though. They like to shit on the Attitude Era girls, but ratings were much better then. And you are entertainers. You're not real Olympic wrestlers. WWE doesn't even call them wrestlers anymore. They're storytellers, or they're performers or entertainers. That's literally what Vince wants them to be called. So why do they have to only do just wrestling? What's so wrong if there's going to be a pillow fight or an oil match here or there? It mixes things up. I don't know. You're an entertainer. If you want to do Olympic wrestling and wear the Olympic singlets, go ahead and do that. But I don't know. I did disapprove of that Saudi Arabia match where they had the girls. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that was
comply with Saudi Arabia rules, where don't they like chop off a girl's clit in Saudi Arabia once they're old enough to experience sexual pleasure because they feel it's wrong?
Yeah,
but yeah, they had those girls wear those outfits for that special match. I don't know. Maybe that's what would make them happy here in the U.S.
Bro, what about a burqa on a pole match, bro?
Yeah.
Loser has to wear a burqa for a year, bro.
I don't know. I think being just like men, like, yes, there are some fat wrestlers like the Keith Lees and the Kevin Owens, but overall, we have to show our bodies too. Most of us have to keep ourselves in good shape, wear small tights. I mean, it's a body business. You're entertainers. You're there to look good it makes it more attractive to watch for the fans. So I don't know. To me, it's just part of the game. And yes, there's going to be rude people online. There's going to be trolls. There's going to be people that give you heat. It's part of the business. Don't get into it if you can't take the heat and your skin isn't thick. That's the way I look at it. But Paige has put a lot of stuff out there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there on her, and yes, she did have those sex videos leaked, which apparently Psycho Sid watched. And there's a funny clip of my channel of him talking about it. But like, why would you even film that to begin with? I don't know.
Yeah, she like I'm no fucking conservative at all. I'm all up for the kind of dirt. But I seen her video of her fucking basically doing a demolition beating on her own anus by choice. And I thought, my God, like that even for me, I thought that's pretty rough. Though I've watched it.
There's also one of Ricochet doing that, by the way, out there for any of the bisexual or gay fans.
Yeah, Ricochet, like listen, I'm all listen, I'm all for, do whatever you're into, whatever makes you happy. But I've never ever heard of a guy doing that. But who was that video for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one of Paige. I saw the one of her getting double teamed by Xavier Woods, and I forget who the other guy was. I don't think he's with WWE anymore. Then there was a third one, I think, too, that appears she's having sex backstage at an event with someone. I just think the real shame there is for the Paige movie, which I actually saw. It could have been so much better if it showed like the real Paige. But she's almost a saint in that movie that they did with her.
That's one of the things I find so weird about that Paige film is in it somebody called her, she goes, "Hey, calm down, sex tape." And I thought, was that written into the script? Or was that done in research? Because since the filming, the tape came out, I just thought that was very, very convenient. And thank God they did, because that film was shite.
The best part of that film was The Rock's promo. That was the part that I liked. And I thought that Vince Vaughn played like a WWE talent guy very well. That's how they are. They're dicks, they're assholes. Do you know supposedly one of them, I watched a video of Tito Ortiz training in WWE, and like one of the WWE talent guys' names is Seaman.
Canyon Seaman?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I couldn't look at him with a straight face. Mr. Seaman.
We don't know how straight that would be, if you know what I'm saying. Not that there's anything wrong with that,
But yeah, apparently Tito Ortiz could be coming in apparently in the future.
Well, speaking of someone who may be coming in, just as we're getting ready to wrap up here, the rumor is that the currently unemployed Tessa Blanchard is high on the WWE list, and she's apparently going to get quite a big payday because AEW need her because their women's division is worse than the women's division of this interview here, and so they have nothing, and they've only got 8 female wrestlers, and they're already used up. But WWE, despite what a lot of critics say, they've got a great depth of roster. Plus, she can make a lot of money, and Flair versus Blanchard could be a fucking really great match that could draw after a bit of a build. So
she has heat. No one in wrestling has heat right now. She probably has the most heat of anyone.
Do you mean legitimate heat?
Yes.
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask. What's your take on the her possibly coming in, and do you think her rumors of backstage problems could halt that or get her buried straight away?
I think it's funny, first of all, that she played TNA Impact so well that they made her champion, killed their men's division by having her beat all the men, then killed their women's division because how important is the women's title if you have a woman as the men's champion? And then she leaves the company without even dropping the title. And now I hear the company has applied for a loan between $150 to $350,000 to attempt to pay. It said, according to the Wrestling Observer, that the reason they took out that loan is to pay 106 employees. So they're not in the best shape right now. I hear Gallows and Anderson might be coming there, but if they're taking out loans, I just wonder what the future of that company is. But as far as the racism allegations that came out against Blanchard and stuff, I think ultimately nothing came of it, because the girl that people were saying she called the N-word came out and said that they had settled it, and no one was actually going to go on the record about what happened. And it's unfortunate. I tried to get some of these people accusing Blanchard to talk to me, and they wouldn't talk to me. So really, in the end, it was all just hearsay. Whether it happened or not, no one would actually stand up and actually go on the record about it. Does she have a bad backstage reputation? Yes. Is she a pain to deal with? Yes, I've dealt with it myself, dealing with her. When we tried to book her in Great North Wrestling, and she had a flight issue. She couldn't make the show, but then she wouldn't do like an apology video for the fans or any interviews with me in the future. But as I said, she has heat. People legitimately don't like her. She's a heel with heat. There isn't any really in wrestling right now. And WWE needs her. As you said, her versus Charlotte is money. She could also do well in AEW, but I think WWE could probably make her a better offer.
A better offer, and comparatively, their ratings are huge compared to AEW. But I just think that I think that if they sign her, I'm not saying she's going to like set the world on fire or any of that, but I think that it's going to make their TV much more interesting. Where if she goes to NXT, I would say that's going to make it instantly more interesting than fucking Nyla Rose versus the fucking small Japanese lady again.
I don't think the Nyla Rose experiment was a positive one in the end. I really don't think it did anything. They never really promoted her as a transgender. They promoted her as a straight woman, but everyone knew behind the scenes that it was a transgender individual. So I don't know if it really did anything for the transgender people, since they never actually promoted that she was transgender on TV. They just try and promote her as a straight female. But I guess the issue was, and I haven't seen much of her, but I guess she wasn't really that good either. I guess that was one of the issues why she didn't get over.
Yeah, that is the problem with AEW, and like Nyla Rose is the perfect example where they do all this preaching about diversity, and we don't care about your race or your gender or your sexuality or any of that shit. It's like, okay, fair enough, but you can't then just hire people because you need to tick a box. Like, we need a fucking white guy, we need a black woman, we need a fat Asian, here's a dwarf transgender Indian person. It doesn't. If they're no good for the job, they shouldn't be hired. And as top of that, when you look at AEW, they do all this shit about we're going to hire different races, but then they only push the white guys, and it's always the white guys on the poster. But then if you look at WWE, what is there? Something like there's 11 of their champions aren't milk-faced crackers like us. So I think that there's, again, the double standards of AEW is for everyone, but mostly if you used to work for the WWE or you're one of Cody's friends.
Yeah, or the Young Bucks friends or Jericho's friends, as we just said with Luther there. You can get in. And Cody, everyone knew was going to win that stupid TNT championship. They killed that the guy who Jake the Snake manages there, what the hell's his name? Lance Hoyt. They brought him in and they had him jobbing to Cody within a month.
Yeah.
It's just too bad because they could have had something there. And why does Cody need to win that title? He's an executive of the company. Why not try and push the heel a bit? And then after the match, they all take a picture smiling together. I don't know. But yeah, you have a good point. Definitely, there's more diversity, diverse people getting pushes in WWE than AEW, I guess.
Yeah, because the problem I have is, like, if you look at The Rock, have you heard of him?
I may have heard. Isn't he an actor now?
Yeah, he was in that Baywatch. That's good shit. That great movie.
You know what? I watched that one twice.
Why?
Why
it's official, everybody. Hannibal lives in a mental home.
I think the best scene of that one is the guy that gets his dick stuck in the lawn chair or something. Did you see that?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
And the person I took to see Baywatch is still in 2020 annoyed at me and brings up the fact that I insisted on bringing her. But as I said, when you look at The Rock, if he was pushed today, people would focus on the fact that he's mixed race, not the fact that he was maybe the best ever promo guy and one of the greatest wrestlers that's ever lived. They would go, it's time that a part African American, part Samoan man is getting the opportunity. No, it's because he's great. That's why he got the fucking push. If they were pushing everyone because they're Samoan, fucking head trigger Samu would be a 15-time world champion.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the problem with the AEW, and that's the problem with the diversity. But what I don't have a problem with, Hannibal, is you. I think you're one of the better interviewees going. But just before I let you go,
one question for you, though. What do you think about Conor McGregor posting a picture with the WWE title? Now he's saying he's retired from MMA fighting. We know he could get paid more in WWE. Are we going to see him appear?
I think that with Conor McGregor, the problem is he's that perfect thing of he's so rich that he doesn't need to work, but what he needs is attention. And I think he's going to embarrass himself because he's clearly not done with UFC. And there's no fucking way he's going to retire. That McGregor versus Khabib 2 is the biggest possible MMA fight in the world. There's no fucking way he's going to go, I can't even do an impression. There's no way he's just going to stay home. So McGregor is about to tarnish his own rep. But speaking of fights, it's been confirmed for later 2021, and I can't fucking wait. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. It's going to be fucking massive. I don't give a shit what happens that day. If it's a funeral, fuck them, they're dead. They're not going anywhere. I have to see this fight. For me, I'm Team AJ all the way. I fucking love him, which cancels out any of the rumored resurfaced tweets of mine. So when it comes to Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, Hannibal, who is your money on?
I would say Fury. I'll have to go with Fury on that one.
You're a scumbag, but that's not that I'm going to take that. How come, by the way?
Pardon me?
Why do you think that Fury's going to cheat to win?
Just because he's training hard and he's on a roll. I believe he has the size advantage, doesn't he?
Only in height, but Joshua is he's like nearly as muscular as me. He'd fucking kill him.
What about reach?
I think AJ's got him on that.
Well, I don't know. It could be interesting. I haven't seen much of Joshua, I have to tell you. But no, I haven't.
Oh God.
But I would have to go with Fury because he's the wrestling person as well, and I got to support the wrestling people, and also people say I look like him, so I got to take the
I can see that.
I don't have the boxing skill of him, by any stretch, but I will take that as a compliment.
Well, speaking of compliments, if anybody wants to compliment you, how would they contact you? What's the social media? What's the YouTube?
Well, youtube.com/the Hannibal TV. We're on Twitter and Instagram at the Hannibal TV, and I have a personal Twitter at DEVONHANNIBAL. But thehannibaltv.com has all the links. I would highly suggest people check it out and subscribe to my channel for great interviews. Maybe a Conan interview coming up if you can hook me up.
I would, but that cunt won't even do mine. And that's not that I don't take that personally or try to throw digs at him, but he can fuck himself. But he's a great guy, though. But I definitely think that if you tweet him, he would do it, because I think he'll do any podcast but mine, just out of spite.
Well, if I do get him on, since you're such good friends with him, I'll definitely ask him about you. I heard someone tweeted me not too long ago a clip from your Keeping It 100 podcast with Disco telling Conan he should do my podcast. And I actually had about 10 people message me about it, saying that I should have Conan on. So that might be one I should actually work on.
That would be amazing. And if you're speaking to Raven, mention me, because I can happily say and confirm that on my recent podcast, I have a clip of Raven singing a song about me. And not to spoil the song, but he calls me a cunt.
Okay.
There you go. And listen, Hannibal, I want to thank you so much for your time. Hopefully I speak to you again. And just before you leave, this is not my real hair. This is Lockdown Hair. Thank you.
Very good. This is not my real hair either. It's my lockdown hair as well.
And this is not my hair, because I am a last word freak.